Cancel culture is alive and it's rearing its ugly head. The latest victim, Sky News, Erin, who is passionate about her beliefs and is upright in what she says, being honest and fair, but that wasn't good enough for the network. So she gets canceled. Does that bring her down? No, she's staying strong. Is she pointing a finger and becoming a victim? No. Wow, that's beautiful. Let's hear what she has to share with us and appreciate her support for Israel. And I'm sure she is going to go to great places and do even much better than she has done previously. Listen in.
Well, first of all, hi. Wow. What a few days. I'm so grateful to everyone who has reached out and shared messages of support. You are all absolutely phenomenal. It's meant so much to me. So thank you. My mind is seriously blown. You've seen the news by now, clearly, that I finished up with Sky. I loved every second of my time with Sky. My show there became my purpose, my passion, and aside from my little girl, basically my entire existence, which is very sad, I know. And yes, I need to get out more. So that's done now. But I am not. In fact, I'm just getting started. So I'm sorry to those who had hoped otherwise. I'm somewhat surprisingly much harder to kill off than you'd think. You see, the problem is, and it's always been this way with me, I just care too much about you, about the world, about a peaceful existence for every single child, about the safety of women everywhere, all women, about my daughter's future, your kids too, about standing up for what is right in the face of what feels at the moment like an unrelenting wave of evil, about calling out the deep-seated hypocrisy that exists within organizations that were created to help, to save, to protect, but instead continue to do the complete opposite. About fighting for every single hostage still captive in Gaza, hundreds of days in, whilst a fair chunk of the world seemingly not only allows their captors completely off the hook, but praises them, worships them, idolizes them, rewards them. Pressure Hamas. Oh God, no, don't be silly. They're just terrorists. Let them be. Pressure Israel. That's it. The only democracy in the Middle East fighting bloodthirsty killers on multiple fronts on behalf of the entire world, desperately trying to get their people back, including babies, while simultaneously trying to protect the rest of their citizens from the same fate. Yes, demonize them. They are the problem. What a plan, huh? Brilliant. And how many people fell for it and continue to hook, line, and sinker? It beggars belief. I care too much about fighting for the innocent children in Gaza suffering at the hands of terrorists who attack, kill, kidnap Jews, then delight in using their own families as human shields in some kind of sick attempt to win the PR battle. And yes, standing against terrorism in all its form is supporting children everywhere in the Middle East, including in Gaza. Nothing the mobs chant or say will convince me otherwise, and nor should it. I care too much about exposing the unfathomable support for evil amongst young people in the West, who are so deluded regarding where their empathy belongs, it is terrifying. The selective outrage, the anger over a lewd comment directed at a lady. Cancel him, cancel him. But the deafening silence when multiple women in Israel are killed, raped, and kidnapped. Context? Where's the proof? Highlighting the demise of the feminist, those self-proclaimed warriors for women who fill their Instagram feeds with Marilyn Monroe quotes about knowing their worth, but refuse to even acknowledge the suffering of any female who does not fit into their terrifyingly naive narrative. The absence of moral clarity and extremism taking its place, it hurts everyone all over the world. It doesn't matter who you are, where you are, or which God you believe in, if any. It's tearing us apart. Evil requires three things to not only survive, but to thrive, in my opinion. 1, weak leadership. 2, useful idiots. And 3, a silent majority. We've had the first for far too long, weak leadership, but that comes to an end soon, in the US at least. Thank you, President Trump. Peace through strength is the only thing that has ever worked. An existence of sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows would be lovely, but that ain't the world we live in. The second, well, they are emboldened by the first, aren't they? The useful fools, they take their cues from the top. So the tone is set. What will a community tolerate? What will we accept? That comes from your leaders. And the third, that's all of us, the silent majority. We, by our very quiet existence, allow the loud minority to take up way too much space. And that is never a good thing. So I am here to be the loudest member of this silent majority that I can be. I care too much about the need to just return to common sense, to think and act rationally, to stop kowtowing to the elitist left and start returning to the ideals and values that actually matter, that make us who we are. The very things that generations of our own men and women, our ancestors, have given their lives for on the battlefield. If we abandon what really matters, then their deaths, they're for nothing. They were a waste. And by the way, to believe in freedom, democracy, and equality, that is being inclusive. You don't need DEI or whatever it's called. Judge people based on who they are, what they stand for, what they do. Not some kind of perceived disadvantage that exists primarily in the heads of those looking for a cause to cling on to, on behalf of those who more often than not don't feel aggrieved and aren't offended. It's crazy. This over-the-top crap actually hurts minority groups far more than it ever helps them. We see that over and over again. So in summary, I care, probably too much, but hey, that's okay too. Would it be easier to accept some of the job offers on other networks I've already had? Absolutely. Every day of the week, every second of the day. Fewer death threats, more stability, a simpler life, no doubt. I'm a single mom with a 6-year-old. I'm not from Israel. I'm not Jewish. I'm not American. I have no skin in this game. But you see, I do. And that's the problem. We all do. It doesn't matter how far away from the coalface we are. When hate is allowed to fester, we all lose. You can't escape it. When stupidity isn't called out, it can become very dangerous. And if I back down now and sit idly by, then I am just as much to blame as the fool waving the Hamas flag at a bogus protest that has nothing to do with Palestinian lives. As the saying goes, the standard you walk past is the standard you accept. And I won't ever accept what the world is dishing up right now, and nor should you. I won't ever bury my head in the sand because that is not how I was raised. My beautiful dad, a senator and major general who we lost to cancer last year, he taught me to stand up for what is right, always, despite the often heavy cost, despite the crushing blows that sometimes come with it. Because if we don't, the alternative will be far worse than any temporary pain, far worse. The stakes are too high right now. We have too much to lose. We've lost too much already. So unfortunately for me and my somewhat frail nervous system right now, but it's getting better, it matters too much to stop. So I won't. My segments are shared and viewed millions of times online every single week. You all tell me they make a difference. They help, you say. Someone sent me something when I first started really using my voice in this space. It was a man from the UK and he wrote, "Erin, I just watched one of your clips. My morals haven't changed, but my entire perspective on who they align with has. Thank you." A woman in Jakarta stopped me at a hotel when I was there recently, a Muslim woman, and she thanked me. She told me that terrorism hurts them as much as it does anyone else, maybe more. I grew up in Indonesia, home of the world's largest Islamic population. I love the country, the culture, and the people. Many of them are like family to me. I speak the language too. I fight this fight just as much for them and for their children as I do for any others. Terrorism and extremism hurts all of us. And that is why I will not stop. As I said, I'm only just getting started. So watch this space.
Wow. That was very powerful, very real, very authentic. Just some of the things to perhaps review. Says, first of all, don't be sorry for the naysayers that they want to see your downfall. I know you meant that tongue in cheek, of course, right? That they want to kill you off, but you're not going to stop because you care too much. Why would a person care and care so much? Well, I believe is because we're created in the image of God. And where some people might think when they look at the world, does God care? Would he allow what goes on go on? If we look a little deeper, we can see, oh my gosh, God really cares. Actually, don't look too far. Look inside of yourself and see the life that you have. Now, you could see what you don't have, what you're lacking, because perhaps you're looking at your neighbor or a friend that has much more than you do. But if you really assess your life appropriately, honestly, and with some humility, you say, wow, am I blessed? Thank you, God Almighty. And if you recognize the blessings, that means being created in the image of God, you matter. And if you matter, so does everyone else. And as a result, emerges from that image of God that we're created in, a caring. And even a caring too much. So Erin, keep it up. The image of God that's endowed upon all of us, but not all of us reflect it. Not all of us allow it to emerge as you have. Power to you. Kol hakavod, as we say. What do you care for? A peaceful existence, standing up for what's right, for the hostages, standing up against evil, where Hamas uses the children in order to win a PR war rather than being there for the children. You use and abuse them, stand up to that evil, and to the young that is amongst us, that they have empathy in the wrong place. And when you have empathy in the wrong place, as I know, one of the things I do is I run a drug crisis center dealing with addiction. And if you're compassionate to a addict and you give them money, you help kill them. Give them food is one thing, but to give them money, it's going to go to their addictive habit. So to have compassion in the wrong place, what you're doing is helping kill someone. And that's what's happening with so many young people who feel that they need to have compassion for the victim. But sometimes that brings their demise. So the three things that she mentioned, a weak leadership, youth that are acting in a foolish way, and that there's a silent majority that is not in favor of the foolishness of the youth or the leadership of much of the Western or free world that is caught up with the wrong sense of empathy and caring. But as Erin said, she is going to be the loud majority, rather than the loud minority that seems to be swaying. She's going to have her voice as a loud majority to make sure that the majority wakes up and recognizes. And as she says, she doesn't have skin in the game. She's not Jewish. She's not from Israel. I have a lot of skin in the game. I'm Jewish. I'm even from Israel. And yet, she cares. Wow. Erin, don't stop. Nothing will let you stop. Because when you recognize, as you do, we're messengers of God Almighty to make this world a better place. And in making this world a better place, there are two things we need to do: recognize the evil and eradicate the evil, or if we can, transform the evil even better. And most importantly, we have to do good. Acts of loving kindness. Goodness and kindness, that is what is our ultimate goal. To increase another act of loving kindness to another individual, whether it be giving charity, whether it's helping others, whether it's bringing out the godly goodness that's in every single individual and helping them to achieve the God-given purpose that each and every one of us were created. There are no two minds alike, no two faces alike, and there's no two thumbprints alike, because we all have a unique imprint to make in this world. Erin, help people as you are to make their unique imprint so we can collectively change the world for good. God bless you, and God bless everyone, and let's work together to change the world for good indeed and bring the final redemption.